Hey you guys, it's Luke Newcomer with the Newcomer Group. I am really excited to be sitting with the owner of Corner Construction, Ryan Cornelison. We are sitting in one of our featured luxury oceanfront listings, 7454 A1A South. It's one of the most fantastic homes on Anastasia Island, and because this is such a beautiful home, there's tons of construction, so many elements that really went into this property. I thought it was important for you to get to know the builder a little bit, kind of the guy behind the scenes, the creator of this. You've got a fantastic business, very reputable in Anastasia Island and throughout St. Augustine. So Ryan, before we dive in and talk about the house, I want to learn a little bit about your business. So first off, tell us who you are, where you're from, just kind of give us some of your roots and foundation of how you got to here.
Sure. So Corner Construction's been around since 2007. My wife and I are the only owners of Corner Construction Services. We started it because we were living in Orlando and I was working for a national builder at the time in 2007. And both Kim and I were born and raised in St. Augustine. So
local guy.
So when we were expecting our first child, we decided that we wanted to be back in this beautiful town to raise our kids. So we I quit my job and I moved home and we started Corner Construction in 2007. It's been a whirlwind, but we're very blessed.
That's awesome. So before moving to St. Augustine, we were chatting a little bit before the camera started rolling. You were working for a home builder down in Orlando.
Correct.
Started out flipping some properties before then with a buddy. So you've got quite an extensive resume.
Sure.
When you moved back up to St. Augustine from Orlando, did you start Corner Construction then and there? And I guess my main question is, how long have you been a custom home builder?
So yeah, in 2007 we moved back and we literally started. We had no other source of income. We I had a warehouse that I was renting from my father-in-law, Kim's dad, and so I had an office to go to. Mm-hmm. And one of the first things we did was make some business cards, and literally every day I would go to work, which would be go to the warehouse with my business cards, and I would literally start cold calling everywhere. Going to different shopping centers and handing out business cards, talking to people. We did some random stuff in the beginning. I mean, honestly, my very first job was a industrial laundromat. I put together a laundry facility for a person that was doing commercial medical laundry. So it was the very first job, very random.
I think a lot of people can resonate with that. Yeah. Cold calling, hitting the ground running.
Sure.
So you've really built something up. I mean, listen, Corner Construction has a fantastic reputation, household name. In your opinion, I mean, this house, and I know you guys have seen the pictures, you've seen the video, we'll get some B-roll footage as far as throughout this interview, but this is a masterpiece.
Thank you.
And I'm sure there's a lot of builders that would have loved to have this opportunity.
Sure.
But you've got this amazing reputation and brand. What do you think sets yourself apart from other builders in this area? Because there's plenty out there, there's some other great ones, but I mean, this is a statement piece on the strip of A1A for sure. So what do you think separates your business from others?
Well, whenever you're building homes, the number one thing is to create value for your client. So, there's three things that clients, look for in a lot of ways, which would be price, product, and process, right?
Sure.
So, the price is always dictated on the property and the level of construction and also the market. The product, it takes a good culture for a construction company to ensure that the product is always maintained and always up in the forefront. And then the process is the one thing that is different all across the board, and it really depends on the person owns the company, sets the culture, and I think that our process is second to none. We have a great team. We focus on relational building. When you're building these big, beautiful homes, you can't do it alone. You need to have a good team around you, and that not only is that your subcontractors, the people actually doing the work, but it requires a good architect. This home was blessed. We had Mike Stauffer as the architect for this home, which is a renowned architect here in town and all over. Great reputation, amazing job. And then also it's being able to connect with your owners, because the owners are part of that team too. We can't build these homes without the owner's input when it comes to their selection items. It's their input that really sets the style of the home. So things like cabinets, countertops, tile, flooring, all those things come from the owner's needs and wants. And
Sure.
I think just putting a good team together is the only way to have a great product in the end.
Awesome team.
Yeah.
You set the expectations up front.
Yeah.
Amazing value, and obviously something like this, and maybe something not as big. I mean, there's over 5,500 square feet here. I mean, it's a big house, tons of garage space. The construction's insane. So
Sure.
lots of moving parts, and
Yeah.
the fact that the owners still love you. I mean, they speak incredibly highly of you. I think that says a lot about the product you put out and the reputation you have here. So
Sure.
that's really great. Before we dive into talking a little bit about this house, are there any current projects that you're working on right now that you're really excited about that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I mean, we have lots of projects around town. We have some challenging ones. We're doing a restaurant downtown right now, which is neat, a commercial job, and it's over the water. Very, very extensive build. It's a lot of fun. And then we have a lot of neat single-family homes all over the place as well. A few ocean fronts, a few intercoastal fronts. So we're very blessed to have the ability to connect with some of these clients that are building some pretty impressive things, and I'm excited about all of them.
That's awesome. That's really, really cool. So listen, guys, we're in front of 7454 A1A. It's currently for sale exclusively with the Newcomer Group. Tell us a little bit about this project.
Sure.
Okay. I mean, this isn't something where you get the permits, you build a house in 9 months. I mean, there is so much that went into this home.
Yeah.
And the quality of construction, the materials used. I mean, this is true luxury oceanfront living. And I think the lucky person who gets to purchase this home and move into it, if you were speaking to them, what would you tell them about this build?
Well, whenever you're building oceanfront, the structure is in the forefront of the design, honestly.
Sure.
And so the magic happens when you can create a robust structural building and then still make it feel elegant and beautiful. And so like when you're building in a lot like this, where the ocean's just on the other side of the dune, you have to take into account 100-year storm events. So for instance, this particular home is built with a deep foundation, which is referring to pilings that go into the earth. So what you have to do is you design a home to withstand a 100-year storm event. And so in this case, being oceanfront, you have to withstand a tidal surge that could be produced from a level 5 hurricane, right?
Sure.
So what you don't see here is that there's a grid of pilings that are put into the ground that are in some cases 40, 45 feet deep.
I have to interrupt you really quick,
Yeah.
and I don't mean to be rude, but what you're saying is almost too casual, because I've never seen something like it before.
Sure.
Literally, I think underneath of where we're sitting, there are steel cement pilings going deep into the ground, and you can actually see underneath that we're sitting on top of cement poured as well on top of that, correct?
That's correct.
I mean, I hope we can get a clip of that for this interview, because
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that. I've sold a lot of houses on the island. I've sold a lot of oceanfront houses. I mean, this is just, it's like no other. I didn't mean to get you off your groove
Yeah.
or funk there.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to point that out because it is incredibly impressive.
I appreciate that, and it's true.
Sorry.
So the idea here is that in a 100-year storm event, I've
Sure.
been here for 40 years. I'm 40 years old and lived in St. Augustine pretty much my whole life, and we've never had an event that would require the type of structure that we put into the home. However, it's built that way in the event that there was this storm event. And so the idea is that if sea levels rose and we had a tidal surge that overcame the dune here, that everything below us could be wiped away. All the sand, all the dirt could be wiped away, and the home would still be standing. It would be resting directly on its pilings, and we could be sitting here just like we are now with no dirt, grass, or vegetation around us. And there's areas in St. Johns County that you actually have the benefit of seeing these things in action. You know,
Sure.
in Volano,
Absolutely.
an area, there's been areas where there's it's called scour. Whenever you have a big storm event that washes the dune away and takes the sand away from underneath you, that causes catastrophic damage to any home that's in its path, unless you have a deep foundation or a piling foundation. This house has that. So everything that you're standing on or sitting on or whatever we're resting on is supported by pilings that go into the earth up to 40, 50 feet deep.
Wow.
And you're talking about a home like this probably has 60 of them.
Yeah.
And then on top of the pilings, it's poured concrete, beams that create a grid that we build from there on up. So, for this home, it took probably 4 to 6 months to get the foundation right, get all the retaining walls right, get everything in place for us to go vertical, and then that's where the fun begins.
Sure.
I mean, the fun for me is early on and seeing all that heavy duty construction. That's
I don't
great.
think many houses can make the claim of what you just said as far as having that much extensive work up front, having that strong of a foundation. So I think that speaks volume on the construction.
Sure.
This is clearly a home that's built to stand the testament of time. Look, this is a large parcel of land.
Sure.
We've got, you guys can't see the view that we're sitting at, but there is 100 feet of unobstructed ocean views. You actually have incredible views of the Intracoastal, so sunrise, sunset. The house is positioned perfectly to capture it all. But how much upfront work, I mean, aside from working with the architect, but how much upfront work went into this process before even clearing the land and breaking into the foundation?
I mean, if you can imagine, whenever you're doing, construction on the ocean like this, there's several layers of governmental agencies that you have to go through. So there was
all the
probably
way up to the state, correct?
State level, that's right. So DEP, environmental protection agencies. There's all sorts of legwork that goes into getting the documents in order to get the approval to even start construction. So luckily, the architect that this client used was a renowned one and very organized and very good at his craft. So he handled most of that work.
Sure.
There was probably 6 months worth of red tape to go through in order to get the approvals just to go vertical. And then once we got the approvals, it really was a kind of a head scratcher because there's a lot of infrastructure that had to go into this before we could go vertical. A lot of retaining walls, many dirt vents, filling of vents. Several times, surveyors would have to come out on a regular basis to double check these things to make sure we're all in order. Because when you're building on a empty lot, there's no reference points for these pilings. So you have to have the surveyor come out and mark everything, and then we put the pilings in. The surveyors come back and mark the beams. We put the beams in. Surveyors come back. So there's a lot of double checking, a lot of triple checking.
And this is something you know how to successfully navigate. I mean, this obviously isn't your first rodeo.
Yeah, this was not my first oceanfront home, but since we've completed this home, we've done 3 other large estate oceanfront homes on this strip of land here on Crescent Beach, and we have one in permitting currently. So that'll be number 4 for this strip here.
Right.
So we've kind of become the guys to call for this area because there's a lot to it.
So did you work extensively with the architect up front, and then once they hand over the plans, is it like that's when corner construction hits the ground running? I mean, how important is that relationship?
That's a great question. So basically, you have several different ways to approach these things. In this particular case, the clients purchased the land and then hired the architect, right? So the architect created the preliminary construction drawings, and from those preliminary drawings, they used to interview builders.
Yep.
So a lot of the planning and design work was done without my input, but once they got to the point of having a solidified design, they did the interview process for different builders here in town, and they luckily chose to go with us.
Sure.
And from the time that we were under contract to build the home, that's when my relationship with the architect started for this particular project. I had done past builds with him prior, so I know the guy, I know him very well. And so, but from that point on, he worked hand in hand with us in lots of different things. Because, whenever you're building a home like this, you put it on paper and you think it's going to go just like you put it on paper, but inevitably there's going to be challenges that come up during the construction process.
Well, even change orders and all sorts of different things, and that's
right.
natural. You want to deliver a product to someone that they're going to totally love. And I mean, listen, every square foot of this home is utilized to perfection. Okay, and I'm not.
Sure.
You come through this place, and every little detail's been accounted for. I mean, seriously, it's one of my most favorite homes on the entire island, and I'm not just saying that because this is my listing. I want to sell it. It's a staple.
Sure.
So, in your opinion, from a construction standpoint, what's one of your most favorite finishes about this property?
Yeah. Other than the structure, because that's obviously my favorite.
Yeah, you're very passionate about that, and that's important. But this is more just like no wrong answer.
Sure.
You built this house.
Sure.
From it can be a high-end luxury finish or anything like that. What's one of your favorite aspects in that sense?
Well, I think the floor plan is fantastic. It really utilizes the views perfectly. The clients were easy to work with when it came to their selections. They had an idea in their mind what they wanted to accomplish here, and they took the lead on making their selections, and they made some great choices. I mean, I think that the media room is one of my favorites, especially when he turns up the volume in there, and I've seen a couple war movies in there after we close, and it's quite a thing to endeavor.
Listen, every room on this floor has a view to take in.
That's right.
It's it's very impressive. So I love that. Let's talk about energy efficiency.
Sure.
Is this home energy efficient, smart home, any types of features that you can possibly elaborate on that? Because look, it gets hot in summertime. We're sitting in front of a fire right now, even though it's summer out, but and it still feels nice and cool in here.
Yep.
But someone might look at this place and say, what does it cost to run something like this?
Yep.
Tell us about that.
Well, we there's 3 AC units, or maybe there's 2 AC units. But anyways, they're high efficiency units, the state of the art at the time that we built the home a few years ago. So that makes a big difference. The windows and doors are a huge source of heat gain here in Florida.
Sure.
When you're up north, it's a lot about heat loss, but here it's heat gain. And so they're high impact windows, everything's impact rated, and high efficiency windows. And then of course the insulation, everything's spray foamed. So it's a very energy efficient home. It was built way above, current code standards for energy efficiency, because it was a very important piece for my clients here. So we took their lead and made it so. But it's a very energy efficient home.
Would you know, and you might not be behind this process, but I'll ask it anyway, do you know of any smart home features that went into this property?
So I know that it has quite a sound system in the media room.
There's a lot of stuff you can control from your phone.
Sure, there's
I don't know
security,
if that's your aspect,
there's cameras.
Or if that happens after.
Well, we started the infrastructure. We put all the wiring in place, and then they contracted with a company here in town, and that really their needs and wants kind of made the smart capabilities evolve. And so I'm not sure exactly all the features in the home, but with security, with entertainment, it definitely is equipped.
Okay, awesome. So getting out of the house really quick.
Sure.
You look out front, the views are incredible. There's your own private boardwalk to the beach.
Yep.
You'll notice that this boardwalk is situated a little bit. It's not just a straight shot, but it's got this, it's very appealing, very attractive. Tell us about how that boardwalk was built. Can you talk about the materials that went into it from a maintenance standpoint, maybe 5-10 years down the road for the new owner?
Yeah. So it's all ground rated, pressure treated lumber.
Okay.
It's not just the run of the mill stuff you buy at Home Depot. It's all stuff that you could use on a dock or inside marine type situations. And as far as the layout's concerned, there's some flexibility that was given to us by the Department of Environmental Protection. They allow us to have a little bit of freedom on the design as far as the flow to it. And the clients were very concerned that they would like to be able to take bikes back and forth.
Sure.
And so one of the things that was a need for them is to not have a lot of steps. So what we did here is we created a boardwalk that utilizes ramps more than steps, because there's quite an elevation change. We're going from wherever we're up here above sea level all the way down to the dune, or to the sand. And so we created that through a series of different elevation changes without the use of steps. And so I think that's been a very positive for our clients' usability. And so that's a lot of input from them.
Sure. Talking about the dune, I think one thing that might not get enough credit or mention about this property and even this strip of Crescent Beaches, we're actually up really high. I don't know the exact, but it's most likely over 20 feet.
Yep.
And, you know, when you're living on the ocean, you and I can both resonate with this, is you build a lot of oceanfront. I've sold a lot of oceanfront. They care about safety. They care about security. What types of precautions were taken into this property, aside from foundation, but to protect you from the elements of the outside world? I mean, you know, surely impact windows, whole house generator,
Yep.
The type of roof. Is there anything that is worth noting that, you know, can help someone feel comfortable, safe in a home like this when you already do just walking in the door?
Yeah, I mean, other than being, you know, out here in Crescent Beach where there's a lot of nature around us, there also is a perimeter wall around the building, and we have a gate out front, you know, operating, you know, either by remote or by keypad. And then, like you said, it's super high impact windows. If you needed to break into this home and everything was locked up, you would have a heck of a time breaking through this glass. You know,
I mean, the doors are heavy,
yeah.
interior solid core doors. The windows are thick. I mean, this is
you're not getting in.
Yeah, I believe that. So, all right. Next question. This is kind of more of like a what's your favorite thing. One of my personal favorite things about this house is the outside sets the tone for when you come in here. You know, you drive by this place and it's just beautiful brick pavers leading up to this grand staircase. There's lush vegetation everywhere. The outside sets the tone for the inside, and then it sets the tone for the back of the house as well. What's just one of your favorite things about this home?
I mean, I have to agree with you. I mean, a lot of what I, you know, do forces me to. So I see a lot of the finishes. I see a lot of stuff. I see lots of kitchens. I see lots of bathrooms.
You're probably your biggest own critic.
No, that's very, very
so
true.
when you come into something like this, you can't pick a single thing apart. And
when
this
it comes
was
to the
newly
finishes, that's
constructed
great.
in 2017.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a newer home.
Yeah.
It's meticulously maintained, but it was meticulously built. I mean, there's.
What I like about the home too is it's not only is it beautiful because it is, but it's also set up for the end user to be able to access the home in such a way that you can maintain it. You know, we have a very cohesive pathway all the way around the home, where it's, you know, sidewalks and steps and walls that you can access all the way around the home without digging through vegetation. You can go into the garage and actually go underneath the house and be able to access anything you would need to in the floor system below us. You know, there's lots of garage space, there's lots of storage space on top of, you know, the beautiful finishes. And so I think just the usability of the home is great. You know, with
aesthetically pleasing, functionality, great finishes. I mean, this is truly timeless in my opinion.
Sure.
Look, there's always hurdles and problems in any business, especially construction. What were some of the challenges that you experienced while building this property, and how did you overcome them, if there were any?
Yeah. So, you know, you said it right though. There are challenges. You know, there's always challenges. No matter what construction, you know, project you have, there's always going to be challenges. That's not the question. The question is, how do you overcome them?
Yep.
And whenever those challenges arise, communication is the only thing that solves it. The only thing that you can, communication and relationship. Because sometimes I had to come to the client and say, you know, there's a concern here, and, you know, it's not going to work out exactly how it's drawn, and I think that we should do this in order to make this upcoming thing more, you know, easier to attain. And having a client that, you know, they were remote when we built the home. They were living in Colorado.
That takes a lot of trust.
Yeah, it's lots of trust, lots of
communication.
Lots of communication, lots of trust. And so, you know, they made it easy when it came to that. And same thing with architects. So we had a couple instances, you know, challenges along the way that we had some head scratchers as to how to handle some of the structural, you know, things. And the team that we had here made it easy. And so we had a meeting about it, you know, met in the field, talked about it, and then just moved forward. And so every large construction project like this is going to have challenges, and it's the team and the relationship that gets you through it.
You know, based off everything you just said, one of the biggest compliments that the current owners, the sellers, say about you as a person in your company was the communication. It was you were very easily accessible, and you know what you just said. Look, there's always going to be challenges, but if you can show up with solutions to those challenges and overcome them, effective communication is always key. So that's huge, especially on a build like this. I think you said it took about 18 months.
Sure.
And that's a long time. That's a long time relationship. They speak very highly of you. you know, if there was any problems right now that could get addressed, would you come by and take a look at it for the new owner?
Absolutely.
Or at least help consult with them?
You know, at the end of the day, these things are like my little children out here.
Sure.
You know, there's not too many homes like this that you're going to build in your career, and I've had the blessings to do a few of them. And if there's any sorts of, you know, questions or any sorts of, needing my input about something with the home, I would be more than happy to visit with them and give them that knowledge.
That's great. Helps that you're local, helps you've been a household name for quite some time.
And building the area. So
yeah, local builder. I mean, that's totally incredible. What would be, kind of closing statements, what would be your advice or words of wisdom for a potential buyer or the new homeowner of this property?
I would say that, be ready to enjoy the outside. I mean, that's one thing about living in Crescent Beach, is that you're surrounded by nature. You know, there's not a whole lot of, there's actually some restaurants and stuff around here now, but what you do have all the time is sun, wind, rain, things like this. This home's going to, withstand all that, but just be ready to enjoy the beach, because it's all about that. It's right there, right next to it. I can't stop looking at it.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of jealous of your seat. I mean, I've got a nice view as well here, but you can probably vouch for this. I mean, I've been in this home now quite a few times, and every time I walk in through here, the view's different. Yeah. Every single time, whether it's raining, whether it's overcast, whether it's bright and sunny, the sun's kind of setting. It's just kind of, it offers a different vibe every time you come in here, which is pretty cool. So
sometimes it's beach, sometimes it's rain, sometimes it's always beautiful.
Listen, thank you so much for taking the time, talking to the consumers, potential buyers. I know you have a lot of projects going on, super busy guys, so we really appreciate you making the time to do this. It was awesome getting to learn a little bit about your business, about the construction of this home. How can people get in touch with you? Are you still taking new clients? Are you looking for new business? I mean, tell us a little bit about what you're looking for so that we can have people reach you for future projects.
I appreciate that. And yes, so we are taking business, especially these larger estate type homes. They take a lot of planning, a lot of work ahead of time before you start construction. So it gives you, so a good client for us, a good fit for us would be someone who is in it for the long haul, because it's more important to get it right than quick, and that's always my mantra. With that being said, no one wants it to be built faster than I do, except maybe the client. So there's no reason for me to make it take longer, other than to make sure it's done right. And so if there's someone out there that is interested in doing something like this, we would be more than happy to speak with them. We know how to get it done, and we're the type of builders that can accomplish pretty much anything. So
there you guys go. Y'all heard it. Listen, Ryan, thank you so much for taking time for this. If you have additional questions, we're going to have some links in the comment section where you can view additional photos, videos, links to it all. We want you to understand everything that went into this home. It's truly beautiful. You did a fantastic job with it. Again, my name is Luke Newcomer with the Newcomer Group. We're exceeding your expectation as our standard. Thanks again, Ryan.
All right. Appreciate you. Thank you.